So today we are going to see in Organon of Medicine about case taking and drug proving. So we all know case taking, it is from aphorism 83 to 104 and drug proving from 105 to 145. Myself, Dr. Rajeshwari KR. So it has been said like a well taken case is a case half cured, and it is said by Dr. Elizabeth Wright. And this gives us the importance of why we so much rely upon all these aphorisms, starting from aphorism 83 to 104. So in the first aphorism of 83 itself, Hahnemann has said a word like this individualizing examination of the case of a disease. So that is what the exact definition of what a case taking is being. So here, Dr. Hahnemann gives us certain ideas about how the physician be and what are his important qualities that should be maintained by him. And first of all, there are 4 qualities mainly: freedom from prejudice, sound senses, attention in observing, and fidelity in tracing the picture. So fidelity, it is something known as faithfulness. We should be very faithful to what we are trying to do while we are taking a case. So mainly starting from the case taking aphorism, first of all, when a patient comes to us, we just inquire about the preliminary details of the patient, like his age, sex, occupation, like that. So the relevance of that section has been given in aphorism 5. So you can go and refer after hearing this. So what all things we are doing in a case taking, each and everything has been stated very neatly and very nicely in our Organon. And what we see in our practice or a clinic is the applied part of all these aphorisms from aphorism 83 to 104. The things we do in our clinic, each and everything emphasize on an applied level of all these aphorisms. If we look at it, it will be easy for us to keep that aphorisms in our mind. So first, the qualities of the physician, 4 qualities has been stated in this aphorism 83. Apart from these 4 qualities, again, we have some other set of qualities, and that has been mentioned in aphorism 98. And that I will state lately when I come to those aphorisms. So first, aphorism 84, 85, and 86. And 84, Hahnemann gives us a note of how the bystander's role should be taken in our case taking. And first, he asks the patient to speak slowly. That is what he gives as the first advice. And why he gives such an advice? He has to note each and everything in particular. So the 84 aphorism telling at first the patient to speak slowly so that the physician can note down everything. And here the patient starts narrating the symptoms. We get all the subjective symptoms. And apart from that, we also look for the objective symptoms, what we see in that patient. So our physician gets an observation from there, but he's not writing it straight away in that case record. In another aphorism, Hahnemann says in aphorism 90, the things we have observed in a patient has to be written at the last, after everything has been finished, every particulars, generals, everything has been finished. So the physician at first take the note of what he finds in that patient, but that physician observation is kept up as like in his mind. Only in aphorism 90, he tells it to write it in a case record. And also one more thing is important here in this aphorism. The physician himself will be silent so that the patient can speak about, and the physician won't be interrupting the patient unless in the first time where he asks the patient to speak slowly. And that is the importance of 84 aphorism. And 85, he starts it with a fresh line so that every new circumstances that have been left or left in the memory of the patient, or he have forgotten to tell us, when he tells it lately, we can add up to it. And next is aphorism 86. The physician refers to each particular symptom and elicits more precise of information. So the patient doesn't know what to tell and what not to tell. After he tells the things which he know and he feels like that has been important to the case, then we can go to the case record and look each line by line, and then we can go to the particular symptom and try to complete our symptom. So we know that when it is from incomplete to complete symptoms, the complete symptom should have a location, sensation, modality, extension, like that, what Bonniesen has told. Like we are trying to complete the symptom that has been stated in aphorism 86. And while we are trying to elicit more information, Hahnemann again cautions us that there should not be any leading questions, so that we are compelling the patient to give a what false answer or a false symptom by simply stating yes or no. So the leading questions, it should not be asked as in aphorism 87. And we know that by the time we reach up to aphorism 87, we have got a what preliminary data, somewhat of our what presenting complaints, we have got a history and all, and the patient tells everything, maybe the causes, anything that is related to the case. And apart from that, what we need, again we need some general symptoms of the patient. We can have a physical general, mental general, or the reactions to anything. So all those things comes in aphorism 88, where the physician asks what more can be hold in regard to these parts and these functions, or the state of disposition of the mind. So his physician wants to know more about the functions of the body of the patient, his mental level. So all these generals come there in aphorism 88. And in the footnote of that, he has given, we can ask about his sleep, the taste, the foods and drinks which are more relished, which he doesn't like, what is repugnant, anything can be asked by the patient. And next, in 89 aphorism, the physician is obliged to ask more precise, more special questions. And also, the physician can take note of the patient's behavior also. What are the remarkable features what he sees in the patient? He can ask about the taste in the mouth, the desire, food, sleep, like that, etc., etc. So more precise questions can be asked by the physician as stated in aphorism 89. Then comes to physician's observation. I told that in the first aphorism 84, the physician has observed the patient. Like the after completing the case, after taking the generals, after he had noted down everything, he just have to convert it, and he has to note it in his case record. This aphorism 90 states that what the physician observes in the patient has to be written after finishing all the details, and that has been stated in aphorism 90, not of what he himself observed in the patient, and ascertains how much of that was peculiar to the patient in his healthy state. He just doesn't simply write it. After inquiring and confirming only, the patient is writing it. Next, here comes the placebo. That is, everyone knows that aphorism 91, it is placebo, but not only in aphorism 91, 96, as well as in aphorism 281, we have the definition of placebo, the usage of placebo. So why here the placebo comes? In this 91 aphorism, we know that in the case of chronic diseases, the patient doesn't come to us directly. So in aphorism 91, we see the patients coming from the other physicians. So they have taken a lot of medicines. The symptom picture has been changed. So in order to give them a cure, what we must do is that we have to give them something of unmedicinal nature, that is something of placebo, and then we have to wait until all those symptoms clears off, and we then only we get the correct remaining exact picture of what about his true illness. So this is about the patients coming from other physicians. From the chronic cases, we are able to do such a thing. We can give a placebo and wait until all the other medicinal symptoms and everything go off, and patient will be in the giving the exact picture of our chronic disease. But this can happen in case of an chronic disease. But what about in an acute disease? In aphorism 92, Hahnemann is speaking about what it is about a conjoined malady, and what it will be in an acute disease. Chronic, we can give placebo and wait. What about in an acute disease? Acute disease character is something more speedy of nature. It can either end in termination of the patient also. So we cannot wait a long time. We have to do something. And conjoined malady, it is more serious than the original disease. And what is meant by conjoined malady is that there is a medicinal disease due to some inappropriate drugs or dosages or something like that, and it has mixed with our original true disease. And that together with that original disease is the conjoined malady. So we have an original disease plus a medicinal disease in this patient of an acute disease. So what can we do? We cannot wait by giving placebo. Then what we have to do is that we just have to take all the symptoms of the patient with a totality. We have to prescribe the most suitable homeopathic remedy in order to save the patient. So this is what Hahnemann says in aphorism 92. 91, it is regarding chronic cases and chronic diseases, and in 92, it is regarding an acute disease. Then Hahnemann in aphorism 93 tells about another cause of disease, that is an obvious cause. And what is this obvious cause? It is a cause of a disgraceful character. That is what the exact wordings that has been given in footnote of aphorism 93. Any cause of disgraceful character, and that needs to be interrogated. So what can be such causes? This cause can have a relation to their acute or a chronic affection, but due to their indolence, or due to their shyness, timidity, they are not telling us, or they don't think that this has something got relation with their disease. So what are such kinds of obvious causes? It may be related to any poisonings, attempted suicide, onanism, unnatural debauchery, excess of wine, cordials or punch, beverages, overindulgence in eating, then jealousy, unfortunate love, worry, grief, then ill usage, injured pride, superstitious fears, hunger, or maybe an imperfection in their private parts, a rupture, a prolapse, and so forth. That is what that has been given in the footnote of that aphorism 93. So these are regarding the obvious causes. Many of the obvious causes are like this. Hahnemann has given beautifully in that footnote about what it is meant by an obvious cause. But we need to interrogate in that cases also, because that has got some cause for their acute or chronic affections. So next, aphorism 94 to 98, we can see what Hahnemann gives us the protocol in case of chronic disease. And there are some special points that need to be inquired in case of females, and that has been stated in aphorism 94 footnote. So in 94, we know that while inquiring into the chronic disease state, we use his ordinary occupation, mode of living, diet, his domestic situation, like that. So apart the preliminary data, as I have told before, it has been stated in aphorism 5 also. That is age, sex, the importance of asking such questions like occupation, like that. So here also they are stating the same thing. In the case of a chronic disease, we have to inquire more about his occupation, his mode of living, diet, domestic situation, and why we ask such questions to the patient. It has got some relevance here. Why? They want to know whether the disease, there is something obstacles to in cure there, or anything their dwelling has to be changed because it has got some relation with the disease. So in order to know that such things, all these details has been asked to the patient. And here in aphorism 94 footnote, Hahnemann tells that there are some points of inquiry in case of females, and we should ask about their pregnancy, sterility. So here comes the questions regarding our obstetrics and gynecology questions. Like you ask them the menstrual history, regarding their GPLA, gestation, pregnancy, live birth, abortion. We ask all such questions to the patients while case taking. So here is the footage of why we ask such questions, because Hahnemann has asked the sexual accouchements, miscarriages, suckling, the nature of their menstrual discharge, their clothes, their color, their pains, what are the things that are accompanied with that symptoms, all should be taken care of while considering a chronic disease. So everything and any questions or any format we see in an case record, it has got its own footages in all these aphorisms. So next is regarding the lesser accessory symptoms. As we all know, in case of chronic diseases, the patient will be having a suffering for more than 15 or 20 years, and they have got certain symptoms which are the lesser accessory symptoms, and they never think that it is something worth mentioning to the doctor, because they think like it is not a part of disease. They feel like due to this continuous feeling of symptoms along each and every day, they think like it is something which is used with them, that is used to their body. It has got nothing relation with their pathological condition or disease condition, so they never mention it to the patient. These are the lesser accessory symptoms, but what they think like that it doesn't have any connection with the principal malady, it is something wrong. Only after we used to question them a lot, we can get such lesser accessory symptoms. So it should not be confused with the accessory symptoms of a medicine. It is something related with the accessory symptoms of the disease. These are the lesser accessory symptoms mentioned in 95. And lesser accessory symptoms of a medicine, we get it in aphorisms 163. So next is the type of patients which Hahnemann tells. There are three types of patient. In aphorism 96, he mentions about the hypochondriac and hypersensitive patient. And in aphorism 97, he tells about the intolerant patients. So what it is in hypochondriac patients, they portray the symptoms in two vivid colors. Why? To induce the physician to give them relief. And why they want some relief? They want that is here Hahnemann tells that in order to understand their nature, we have to give them something of the unmedicinal nature. So this is the aphorism. Secondly, telling about the placebo. First, we have seen it in aphorism 91. Now again in 96, the footnote, it has been told as something quite unmedicinal, proves this plainly, whether he has got any complaint or just he's explaining it in two vivid colors. And here Hahnemann tells that a fabrication of symptoms and sufferings will never be met in hypochondriac. Hypochondriac, he never lies that he has a such a disease, he has headache or he has a pain in leg, or he has a vertigo. Only the things which he have and he feels to the disease, only that these hypochondriac persons say. And why they say it is due to their anxiety about the disease, due to the fear of the disease, that they express these hypochondriac sensations, like explaining in two vivid colors. It is not something, it is not nothing that can be controlled by the patient. It comes out of him uncontrollably. It is not something done by him purposefully. He doesn't want to do like that, but due to his fear and anxious state, everything, it comes out like that. He explains it in two vivid colors. He want to get to good relief easily. And again, hypersensitive patients, they too exaggerate the symptoms, because they too want to get what relief. But how can we differentiate between a hypochondriac and a hypersensitive patient? Hypochondriac patients, they tell to us like give a good past history, like all these complaints I have gone through, I have taken all these such of treatments like that. But a hypersensitive, just 1 second. Sorry for the interruption. So where we left, yeah. Hypersensitive patient, hypochondriac. We know hypochondriac gives the exact details of what he has gone through, what are the treatments that has been taken. Why he gives us such details? Because he's very conscious about his health. He just wants relief in any way. So he gives the exact picture. He never adds something more to that picture. Only what he's gone through, he will give us. And next is the intolerant patients. It is said in aphorism 97. So intolerant patients are those, and due to their false modesty, or due to some kind of mildness of mind or disposition of mind, they doesn't tell us some symptoms, because they feels like it has got no consequence with anything. And due to this timidity or shy nature, or due to some modesty, or like something they feel like it is not of useful in their case to taking, they describe symptoms in very vague terms. So it will be difficult for us to get some symptoms from such kinds of patients. So now coming to the 98 aphorism. So here Hahnemann tells like give credence to the patient's own expression, because there may be bystanders. So that can be the symptoms which the patient tells to us directly about what he has felt. It can only be described by the patient. No one else can tell us exactly what has happened. And so Hahnemann tells that we have to give more weightage to what the patient tells in his own expressions. So here Hahnemann in 1803 aphorism has told us that there are mainly 4 qualities of the physician. And apart from that 4 qualities, there are certain additional qualities the physician should have. And that has been mentioned here in aphorism 98. And which are those? additional qualities. They are the circumspection, tact, knowledge of human nature, caution on conducting the inquiry, and patience in an eminent degree. So, what is this circumspection? It means the quality of becoming too careful. We have to deal very carefully with our cases. And tact is the skill and sensitivity in dealing with the others. And we have to be very cautious also when conducting an inquiry. We have to take care because a person with a disease only comes to a physician in order to get the relief. So this is giving credentials to patient's own expression. In others' words, it will be altered in some kind. So mostly we rely on our patient's own expression. So aphorism 99 to 102, it is about acute case taking. And as we all know, in this case taking, here Hahnemann tells us that in 99 aphorism that when everything is fresh in the memory of the patient, since he is having an acute episode, that it is easy for us to get a good case taking. The patient tell everything, every symptoms of a novel character even to us. So this case taking will be easy in as said in aphorism 99, and in aphorism 100 Hahnemann tells that how it should be in case taking of an epidemic and sporadic disease. So here the physician the picture of the disease in any epidemic, it will be changeable. So any epidemic coming, it should not be taken as such. Even in the next wave or in the third wave, we can see that the COVID symptoms, it has got changed. Like that, in the case taking of an epidemic and sporadic cases, tells that the physician must regard the pure picture of the prevailing disease as if it were something new and unknown, and it has to be investigated in a real and radical nature. And in aphorism 101, Hahnemann says that how to form a totality of such epidemic disease. That is, one person will be showing one symptom, one group of symptoms, the other person will be showing another group of symptoms. But those with an epidemic disease, we collect the common nature of common symptoms of those disease. We get a good totality of symptoms of an acute case, and that should be totality should be made from several such cases of epidemic disease. Then only we can come to a medicine. So next in aphorism 102, Hahnemann tells that how that genus epidemics, about genus epidemics. But we can see that there is no such word in aphorism 102 as genus epidemics. Actually, it is a word that is related to homeopathic specific remedy. Hahnemann has told about in the case of an epidemic disease, we have to give a homeopathic specific remedy. It has been stated in the footnote of aphorism 102, and that homeopathic specific remedy is the medicine which he wants to give in an epidemic disease. And some else has coined the term of genus epidemics. I think it's the word coined by Dr. Herring, and this genus epidemics or a homeopathic specific remedy, it is nothing else. It is just a medicine which has to be used in a epidemic. And here also, after taking the totality of the acute in aphorism, as per in aphorism 101, we come to a medicine which is closely related with this totality and having that all those common symptoms, and thus we are giving medicines in such cases. That is the genus epidemics we are coming to find. So next is in 103 aphorism. Here it has been said like in case of chronic diseases, especially in case of psoriatic diseases, it has to be investigated in a more minute manner, and the observation of very many single patients. So it has their observations of many patients, such patients with a chronic disease, psoriatic chronic disease has been taken, and then only we can come to an antipsoriatic disease. So it is something regarding that investigation of psora and how that antipsorics has to be discovered. And in aphorism 104, Hahnemann tells about record keeping. That is the responsibility of the doctor after the case taking include case analysis and also record keeping. So here what he says, they telling that after the patient has taken medicine and he is coming for the next visit, again we are doing a fresh examination, and from that list of the symptoms that has already been noted down in a record, we strike out that has become ameliorated, or we add up any new symptoms that has occurred, or we mark it whether the symptoms has aggravated. So how all that happens? We keep the record safe. So this is regarding the record keeping section. So next it is drug proving. So drug proving for some 105 to 145, we deal with the drug proving. So in drug proving, we know that it is the pathogenetic power of the medicine, as said in aphorism 105, that is drug proving. In order to, in a drug proving, we are trying to find this pathogenic power of medicine so that we can apply it to patients when they come with certain symptoms, having certain diseases having the same symptomatology. So in aphorism 106, it has been stated that the whole pathogenic effects of several medicines has to be known in order to practice. And in aphorism 107, it has been said like how the proving should be in a sick person. And Hahnemann has told that there should be no proving in sick person. Why the sick person should not be used in a proving? Because he already has got a disease. And when we give a medicine, these disease symptoms get mixed with a medicinal symptom. So Hahnemann says that there should be no proving in sick persons. Actually, it is no proving in sick person. And Hahnemann tells in 108, proving in healthy persons. So we have to prove medicines in healthy persons, and that too moderate doses has been given. In that 108 footnote, Hahnemann has tells about Albert von Haller, and he says that 2500 years ago, no one has thought of this drug proving apart from Albert von Haller. And he tells that he alone, besides myself, saw the necessity of this. Apart from Hahnemann, only this person has seen the necessity of a drug proving. So Hahnemann gives credit to Albert von Haller in a aphorism 108 footnote. Again, he tells or praises Albert von Haller in aphorism 118 footnote also. And here in Hahnemann, in aphorism 109, first praises him. Throughout this entire organon, we cannot see a place where Hahnemann tries to give credit to himself. But here in this aphorism, at first time he tells that I first opened up this path. So he tells about this about drug proving, and he says that he was the first person who tried to do drug proving in the healthy persons. And in the footnote, we can see that there is superiority of homeopathy, where Hahnemann is telling that there is no other method or no other best method of curing dynamic disease apart from the homeopathy. And it is impossible to draw more than one straight line between two given points. In between two given points, we can draw only one line. So Hahnemann is telling that if you have to have a cure of a dynamic disease, you have to use homeopathy. And it is a never failing treatment, what Hahnemann says as per the footnote of 109. And here in also 110, it is about doctrine of signature, the first rudiments of the true pro mathematica. Actually, there are too many histories of poisoning, and how that happened is that either the persons took it unknowingly, or they wanted to produce death in themselves. But what happened is that they have taken all those symptoms as been recorded as histories of poisoning, in order to warn other people not to use such, to warn the people from the. One second. Sorry for the interruption. So we were telling about the history of the poisoning, and they they wanted to warn others from their use, and someone else wanted to exalt their own skill. So they recorded all these provings. So they never thought that these history of provings will be the true true rudiments of a true pure materia medica, because we know that they are also doing the same thing. They are taking some poisoning and taking some recording, but it is not a dynamic medicine and it is not potentized, and they have not known about the dosage also. So what they did was something Hahnemann was thinking about, but not giving poisoning. Hahnemann was thinking of giving medicine and doing a proving. And the people who did write the history of poisoning never thought that these could be the first rudiments of a true pure natura medica. And in aphorism 111, it has been said like the medicinal substance, they act according to the fixed external laws of nature. And in 113, we see the narcotic medicines action. And Hahnemann says that in a proving of narcotic medicines, we have to record the secondary symptom. Why the secondary action? Sorry, secondary symptom, not secondary symptom. It is secondary action. Sorry. So why we are not taking the primary action? Because during the primary action, the sensibility and the sensations are being taken off, because it is a narcotic medicine we are trying to prove. And in the secondary action only, we are getting some symptoms due to the increased sensibility. So in the case of a narcotic medicine, we have to take look on the secondary action. And in aphorism 114, again it is said that apart from these narcotic remedies, all other drugs, we have to take the look of the primary action. And next it is said about alternating action in aphorism 115, where Hahnemann tells that a definition like of alternating action is that various paroxysms of primary action. So what is meant by this is that a drug, when we are giving it, it may have a primary action. Again, the vital force will react to it, opposed to it. That is the secondary action. It may be either a counter or a curative action. That is the second part. During that alternating action, we are completely focusing on the primary action. And it was observed like certain drugs, they show some various paroxysms of their primary action. It may appear to us as the secondary action. That is what it is meant by alternating action. So we have to differentiate actually between a secondary action and an alternating action, and how we do so. In the case of a secondary action of a medicine, like we get a primary action. It may be either a happiness or a constipation like thing. And next in the secondary action, we have a diarrhea. Again, when a constipation is coming, it may be an alternation. Like one goes, other comes, other goes, other comes, like that. But in case of an exact secondary action, once a constipation, next diarrhea, then it is a stop. And after that, we won't be getting that constipation like that. So there won't be any alternation. So in the primary action itself, when there are various paroxysms of alternating state, that is said to be the alternating action. And next in aphorism 116, it is said about proving in groups. We cannot give medicine to a single person and a few individuals and then tell it as a drug proving. So in order to have a drug proving, it has to be done in very many individuals, not just in few persons. So in aphorism 117, we are looking into idiosyncrasy. So here Hahnemann has given the definition of idiosyncrasy as they are peculiar corporeal constitutions which, although otherwise healthy, they have a disposition to be brought into more or less morbid state by the certain things which produce no impression and no change in many other individuals. We know what an idiosyncrasy is. So here in this idiosyncrasy, Hahnemann, they are good provers, like idiosyncratic persons. Sorry, they can be used for proving because they give the good symptoms. And here in the footnote of this aphorism 117, Hahnemann tells us some examples like smell of roses, partaking mussels, crabs, row of barbel, sumach leaves. Sumach is nothing but rust glabra from the family of rustox. And here what is happening is that some persons have some idiosyncratic symptoms produced due to all these things. And here also in the second note, it has been said like there is a Princess Maria Porphyrogenita who restored her brother Emperor Artaxerxes, who was suffering from faintings by sprinkling him with rose water. So it is wrongly stated that the brother Emperor Alexis is a brother, but it was a father. And they are telling like someone has got idiosyncrasy, like due to the they have some faintings and all due to maybe tutu flower or any other things. And when using rose water and all, they just waken up from their idiosyncratic effect. And it is something which Hahnemann gives us as examples to make us understand what he meant by idiosyncrasy. And in aphorism 18, 18, it is said about the individuality of medicinal action. It is nothing but that every medicine has got an individual action, and it does not produce the same symptom in the same degree in exactly the same manner in another individual. So it is about the individuality of medicinal action. And here in the footnote, again, Hahnemann tells about Albert von Haller, and he praises it that Albert von Haller, he was also the person who told before Hahnemann that each drug has to be proved in such a way, like in many persons, so that we can get the individuality of their action, maybe in their physical constitution or a mental constitution or a chemical constituent. The drug may be having some differences with an other drug of their, even of the same family. So the fact that there is an individuality of medicinal action was perceived by Albert von Haller also. Next, in Horsam 119, it is also telling the same thing, only individualizing about the medicinal action. And in the footnote here, he says that this is why in homeopathy we don't have surrogates. Why we doesn't have surrogates? Surrogates means substitute. In homeopathy, there is no surrogates. Why? Because each of the medicinal action, it has its own individuality, which cannot be produced by any other medicine. Like the action of belladonna cannot be produced by the aconite as such. So it has been said like there is no surrogates. In aphorism 121, here it is stated about the doses of strong drug proving. Like strong heroic substances, it can be given in small doses, and the drugs with a milder power, not like that of a heroic substance, but milder power can be given in more considerable quantity. And the drugs with substances with a very weak power, they can be given for proving in healthy, delicate, irritable, sensitive persons. Why? Because in that sensitive persons or a delicate person, the weakest medicine will produce some more symptoms. So this is regarding the dosage, how we are able to choose in case of strong drugs. We have to give small doses, milder power, we can give in little more considerable quantity. And for the very weakest, it has been to be given in healthy, delicate, irritable, sensitive persons. Next, in aphorism 122, it is said about the genuinity of pure medicinal substance. The medicinal drug substance we are trying to use for the proving, it has to be procured from its genuine site. Like each and every drug soils will have differences. So the plant which is said to be in that grown in an area, we have to which will yield the maximum qualities in that drug substance. We have to procure that same plant from that same area in order to have such medicinal substance qualities. So this is regarding the genuinity or purity about drug substances. And next is about the preparation of medicines. In aphorism 123, Hahnemann states about the preparation of medicines. Like there are many types of plants, like indigenous plants, exotic vegetable substance, there are salt, gums, like that. So how they have to be used in a proving is that in the case of indigenous plant, what we have to do is that the freshly expressed juice have to be mixed with little alcohol to prevent spoiling, and it can be used for proving. In case of exotic vegetable substances, which is either in the form of a powder or a tincture which is prepared with alcohol, we have to add a little bit of water. In case of salt and gums, it has to be dissolved in water before being taken. And in case of dry plant that has been procured, where the powers will be naturally weak because the plant has already been dry, we have to cut it, and then we have cut that herb into small pieces, and then the boiling water has to be poured over it, and then we have to keep it for some time. And after the medicinal what substances has been extracted, we have to immediately take the preparation. That is, even when it is warm, we have to swallow it. So why the alcohol and spirit has been added is that in order to prevent the fermentation and decomposition. So here it has been given why we add alcohol to our medicines. That is in aphorism 123. And then it is about the diet of the brewer. So Hahnemann has given that the diet of the brewer should be maintained. As such, he has to avoid anything of medicinal nature. So the spices, green vegetable, roots, salads, herb soups, all has to be avoided. Then what else will he take? Because vegetables has been denied, spices has been denied, herb soups, salads, roots, everything has been denied. So we can see into that has been given in the footnote as what he has to eat. The consumption, it should be young green peas, green French beans, and carrots, which has to be taken by the patient. And in the sixth edition, an addition had been added, that is boiled potatoes can also be taken. So sixth edition, boiled potatoes was added. And apart from that, all other things has to be taken. And regarding all those beverages, there should, if the patient is in the habit of taking coffee, tea, brandy, or wine, or anything, actually he has to get abstain from it for a considerable period of time. And if he's in the habit of using it, he should not use while he is doing a drug proving. So no brandy, wine, coffee, tea, nothing, no beverages, no stimulants, nothing has to be taken while proving. All those has been stated in aphorism 125. Next, we are going to see about the mind of the prover. So Hahnemann has said that regarding the prover, in his mind, all the overexertion of body and mind has to be taken off. All the dissipation, disturbing passions, all the urgent businesses which are distracting him, everything has to be avoided. And what he must do is that he must devote to careful self-observation. Nothing has to be disturbed. He should be in a good state of health, and he should also have a little amount of knowledge so that he can write and note down everything. And regarding the proving in both male and female, it has been stated in 127. And why we do in both male and female is that in order to reveal the alteration of the health in product produced in the sexual sphere, in order to know that changes, we give medicines in both males and females. And for some 128, we are advised to use dynamic drugs for proving, and that too how 4 to 6 small globules has to be taken, and the 30 potencies has to be used. And when while taking, we can either dissolve it in water, and they can be given for several days unless and until the symptoms are coming out. So this was regarding the usage of drugs and the dosages, how we can give them, frequency. Next, in aphorism 130, in order to have a knowledge of the genius of the medicine, we have to look on of the order of succession of symptoms. While the symptoms are being coming out, we have to have a note of such of order of the succession of symptoms, so that we can know about how the medicine act and what are the symptoms that they are producing. And next is regarding a complete symptom, which has been stated in the aphorism 132. Like even if we are giving a weak medicinal substance and giving it for several days, when the symptom comes, we have to note of the exact character of what it is, how it is, and we have to get all those details regarding in order to make it a complete symptom. What all details the patient is, the prover is giving, we have to take care of. And regarding 135, it has been said that the medicine has to be given in both sexes. It has already been stated in 127, like we have to give the medicine in both male and female. But again, it has been stated that apart from giving the medicine to both sexes, we have to give the medicines in all the constitutions also, to understand the exact mode of action of the medicine in each one. And regarding aphorism 138, it is recurrence of symptoms in proving. While we are doing a proving, there are sometimes that there will be symptoms which will be coming in recurrence. And why this reappearance of symptoms is coming, it may be due to the peculiar constitution of the person, but mainly it is due to the effect of the medicine. This drug, when given in a person like A, for suppose you have a person like A given in a proving, when you give the medicine, the symptom is coming. and in B it may not be coming. So what we have to think is that while giving medicines in each constitution, the symptom may be what more or less change, and only few of the persons will be showing like recurrence of symptoms. Maybe he's showing one symptom while having a proving of this remedy, and again you giving another remedy, he is also showing such a symptom. So what we have to understand is that it is due to his peculiar constitution and also due to the effect of the medicine that he is showing such a recurrence of the symptom, and that has been stated in Aphorism 138. And regarding the provers, in 139 it has been said about literate prover, and in 140 it has been said about illiterate prover. But a physician has got a role in both these qualities. If it is a literate prover or an illiterate prover, the physician is having a role. But we all know that in an illiterate prover, the patient cannot, the prover cannot write everything or record everything. He doesn't know to write and read like that. So physician has to do everything. He has to collect each detail from the prover and then adds up to what the prover tells. And he notes everything in this day book of proving. But why the physician has got a role in a literate prover? Because the literate prover knows how to read and write. He can exactly write everything. But the importance of a physician's role is that he has to inquire whether the prover has written everything correctly or something he doesn't know how to record it exactly. In that cases, in order to give more precise details, the physician can help the prover by questioning him everything in then regarding the nature, the circumstances in which the symptom has appeared. So the physician has got a role both in the literate prover and as well as in the case of illiterate prover. In the case of literate prover, it is just an inquiry, overall looking. But in the case of an illiterate prover, it is starting from the writing in the day book itself, the physician has got a role. So Hahnemann now tells in Aphorism 141 that the physician is the best prover. There are some advantages of proving the medicine on the physician himself, and that has been given in footnote of 141. What are the advantages the physician has? The advantages the physician has are what? The health of the physician becomes much robust. It is not unalterable. And through each and every drug proving, he is induced to do more and more proving in order to investigate the power of the medicine. He can understand his own sensations and he can have a careful observation, good observation. He's trained to be a good observer. So these are the things which the physician get as advantages of proving the medicine on himself. So next is regarding the true materia medica, which has been stated in 143. So true materia medica, we know all these healthy individual provings correctly looked upon. It has got each and every person's proving has been collected. Such a group of medicines provings has been collected, and that constitute a true materia medica. So here in the footnote, Hahnemann tells about naming symptoms. So what it has been given in the 5th edition about naming symptoms, and in the appendix section, if you refer, you can see what Hahnemann has told about naming symptoms, and that has been beautifully detailed by Dudgeon. So in naming symptoms, what is happening? In the Nenning used to give symptoms for paid provings. So he is said as head by Hahnemann as ever ready symptom manufacturer. So why Hahnemann called like this? Because Hahnemann, when he's seeing these Nenning symptoms, which is appearing in the Hartleb and Trink's Materia Medica, what is happening is that Hahnemann, when he reads the symptom, it will be in careless, prolix, unprecise term. So Hahnemann has used to think whether exactly this Nenning has proved any medicines or whether he's just giving some symptoms. So Hahnemann somewhat got prejudiced and maybe prejudice or maybe exactly he came to know that there is no provings that carefully done in Hahnemannian way in case of the symptoms which Nenning gives in for each remedy. He has been paid off. So Nenning symptoms, they are what careless symptoms, and it has been designated in the Materia Medica of Hartleb and Prince as NG. So any symptom enclosed with an enclosed NG means it is being given by Nenning to that drug. So Hahnemann tells Nenning as ever-ready symptom manufacturer, and he has been mentioning about Nenning in footnote of Aphorism 143. Next, it is about pure materia medica. So everything will be pure in the language of nature of the patient. Pure. So that is pure materia medica. This is how we constructed materia medica. And in Aphorism 145, actually, in the footnote, it is said by Hahnemann, like it's about 40 years ago, Hahnemann has made proving of pure power of medicine. So this is about drug proving. So by this, we have come to the end.